Ark Omega, the largest Ark mod known to ever exist, massing over 300,000 dinosaur variants and combinations with epic abilities, making it nearly a limitless experience. With a simple mind and a strong back, I was ready to carry Keys along with me on this journey with the goal of defeating a unique group god, which combines the power of 2 group gods into one mega strong foe. I have 100 days to complete this mega modded adventure, so let's go. On day 1, I woke up being instantly deleted by a pig. Whoa! And that's the end of the video. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. My second try, I spawned in the same zone, but I spotted something truly unbelievable. What is that? Is that a bulldog? What is this? Female out... Where did it go? I quickly skedaddled towards my loot bag, but that was all for nothing. I don't even know why I went for it. My brain is kinda scrambled from the spawn kill. I didn't like the geodog constantly following me around, but I couldn't do anything about it. I was slowly dying to the cold as well. I forgot to select another spawn, so I was back in Antarctica again. Since I was freezing my ass off in Antarctica, I saw at the bottom corner of my game that there was some sort of Omega guide that I could open. It's an Omega workbench, next step is to craft a cable station. Okay, well... Bro, come on, it's literally day 1 and I died 3 times already. Well, this new area seemed a bit more mild. Only a few chickens all over the place. This is kinda what I need. I made myself the basic gathering tool so we could get some things going. But before I was able to make any sort of progress at all, I got murdered by a swirly compy. Yeah, that didn't end well. I had to quickly come up with a plan and start building some sort of a base. Hot. Because spawning all over the place will just send me back to the gulag over and over again. I prioritized making this Omega workbench rather than a bed. I kinda like to live dangerously. But either way, in this workbench, you can make all sorts of assortments within the mod here. But the mod being my first time playing, it made it very confusing what everything was for. So, as you can see, I have obtained a soul and an essence, so let me quickly explain what these are for. Everything in this mod is based around these essence and souls that you can get by killing each individual variant of a dino. There are 6 tiers of dinos out there. Within those tiers there are 14 themed groups, and each of those groups have variants that tie into the group's theme you can tame. That was a lot of words. The rest will just have to be upgraded through certain means. The variants have all sorts of different abilities that will be critical to our progression. And all of those are tamed through kibble, which are made from the souls and their respective egg tier. I know I was in for a lot in this mod, but that's kind of what I expected from the largest Ark mod. Anyways, I quickly destroyed a dodo since I was in need of a bed. I made all of these fancy things, but I still didn't have a bed, so let's work on that. Getting some barbecue was gonna be essential too for my survival, so I made a campfire. And then I saw something huge in the ocean. It looked like a powerful being that randomly beached itself and died. And that's kinda typical in Ark. I still had to go out and kill some more dinos. I was lacking out on that hide for the forge, and it was very hard to differentiate between Omega and vanilla dinos. Just attacking the wrong thing will inevitably end my life. Oh, it's a siren dodo! I don't know what that is. Then back at my hut, I was debating about making my first early set token.
What is it?
Consume to receive a random early game set item. These set items cannot be imbued or fragmented. Their only purpose is to give players a starting boost. Oh! No! Come here. No. Can I bully it? I can bully it. What is it? Ultimate Psychosis We're freaking leaving. And this time I made a spear so I could protect myself. With a great influx of dodos around this part, I kinda wanted to tame some of them, since I will be needing them for my first set of kibble to tame the Omega Beta dinos. After taming up Doug and Johannes, I was gonna bring them back home, but I spotted a glowing carno right above my base. No! It's right above my base! I didn't have any crystal yet, so I couldn't make any single soul ball to protect these small little chickens. But somehow I just managed to sneak past the carno to my base, and I crafted up my first set token, which gave me a helmet with a few different abilities. Immune to volatile damage and blind, and it can be also extended with set bonuses. I will just have to get the rest of the armor set. And once again, the terror bird was back here.
Hello. Hi.
I really should be moving out of this place. I just don't know how much HP the bird had, so I was gonna try baiting it away from my base. I mean hut. The next day, I was outside running in my underwear, desperate and determined to find me some crystal. There was danger everywhere I looked, and I was having cold shivers in my underwear. Somehow, I got a curious queen bee circling me around, which made me drop on all four and start crawling like a baby, gathering my strength for a final sprint. Like coming over here with nothing but a bowl and my underwear felt like a stupid idea, but all of the dinos could be avoided. This was definitely not my place to be at right now. Talk about being naked and afraid. I saw an opening to try picking some bushes off the ground to eat some berries and gain some nourishment, then I suddenly got frozen and nibbled to death. Frozen? Oh my god, I died. Up this hill here was my first discovery of some metal, so I gathered a bit of it since I was up here spinning around being confused where the f*** I am. I heard a faint noise behind me, which was a mantis with the ability to throw some snowballs at me, which killed me again. Okay. After I respawned, I had looked up on the interwebs where the aberration cave was, so I just had to walk in one direction until I ran into a cave. Finally, I found a cave, and there was a lot of damage numbers deep inside the cave, but there was some blue crystals close to the entrance I grabbed instead. I only needed a small amount of it so I could make some soul balls. On my way back home, I ran into the most mysterious kind of a creature. What? It was some sort of feather-like basilisk. The body itself was obviously basilisk, but its face and tail was one of the feather-like.
That sounds interesting.
For some reason, there was this Aquaman people in the water waiting for me. Oh no, no, no. Now the humans are following me. So I panicked and I ran into another big freaking tribe. Whoa! You're so fast! Oh yeah. I managed to get my stuff back, but like for some goddamn reason, there was always a lurking predator nearby. There will be time for me to move away from here in due time. While I was just browsing in the table, I got deleted by a trike. I didn't even see or hear him. What? I made a mistake of spawning in the bed, which Thanos snapped me out of existence. I got back to my base after running a while and I heard some kind of a chime sound. It was apparently a dodo paragon soul that dropped. Like, man, this place is so crazy. I haven't even had the time to think about looking for a new base spot yet. That's a lot of ants. Oh, okay, I couldn't walk past them. Oh, you serious? Oh, move, you stupid trilobite! Oh my god. I can't go anywhere. Like, I don't even know what to do. Why is my hut the gathering place of all the dangerous creatures all of a sudden? I don't know what to do, man. After a few screams of rage, I decided to teleport to Asgard to check out the place. I went up to the Viking village up here to see if there was any Viking king guarding the place, and there was not. This place was completely abandoned and will make for a new base spot for me. When I was gonna go home, I teleported to the wrong place, so I tried again, and suddenly a Reaper just emerged out of nowhere, ending my survival time.
Hello, mother.
There's a Reaper here! No! I managed to stay alive for at least 5 minutes. With this new respawn, it was time for me to actually get the move on and move to Asgard. I found the perfect place, but it was just a matter of staying alive until then. As I've been struggling all this time just to stay alive, Akisa was already working on her machines.
Might as well bring some of the machines I've made.
You made machines? What? Fuck, how fancy do you already live? Akisa was also moving over here, but she didn't know where the castle was, and I could literally see her from up here. By the end of the night, Akisa made it up here with her offensive tribe name. If anything, she should have that tribe name on Asa. On day 3, I went to work on getting some water, but in ASC, we can just place an intake here and a tap, and voila, water. It's magic. Then I started cleaning up the base from rocks and trees to make it a little bit more neat for our living, and also to make a forge with the stuff. I placed down one of these egg collectors, which lets you basically integrate dinos into it so you can generate eggs for cable making. It's super convenient. So after dying so many times and almost losing everything but my mind, I want to work on getting an awesome teleporter so we won't lose our shit. To start with, I was gonna go out and collect some silica pearls, but before that, Akisa wanted to flex on something very shitty. Wait, what? How? She can apparently walk over fences. I didn't see that coming, that's for sure. I was seeing all of these things for the first time. What really intrigued me was this water Maywing that could be obtained with an elemental kibble. And after walking through all of the wondrous terrors, I managed to get to the river where I spotted a beaver dam. Whoa, that's a big beaver! Ah, this was a bad idea, but I expected for that to happen, to be honest. When I grabbed my stuff, I ran back home where I saw even more beaver dams, so I did what I do best. Like, this mod is so unforgiving when you don't have any tames at all. Like, I'm literally being punished for not having a tame. What? Bro. Oh, come on. Before I could work on getting an awesome teleporter to recover our belongings, I will have to make a fabricator, but that was just one small problem. Oh my god, I have to be level 48. So then, I started working on some cooking pots to craft for some easy levels. Like, man, Ark Omega is crazy. I mean, look at these interesting quirks like the versatile slingshot. It can be used with a bunch of different ingredients. The next morning, the plan was to tame an elemental Maywing, our very first Omega Dino. I had a few gates on me, so I trapped it in and I was gonna start blasting it with arrows. Okay, I didn't think through that. Oh my god!
Are you okay?
I didn't think it would water sprout my face. The Maywing was no longer in the trap and must have escaped somehow while I got water splooshed in my face. The Maywing didn't get that far away, so once again I put down my trap, and this time a little bit more tighter. I kept on distance trying to knock it out while also being careful not to aggro any Brontos. The Maywing didn't get trapped in a good spot really. But still, now we got our first Omega Dino. And back at the base, we had a very aggressive Void Wyvern outside the base, making this somewhat dangerous right now. I was worried about Johannes and Doug. The Void Wyvern outside was doing damage to our base, but it seemed unaffected by it, so we were kinda lucky for now. I kinda spoke too soon.
No, Johannes!
Johannes had to pay for my negligence. Unbeknownst to me, Akisa had been outside and tamed herself a Comet Featherlight. It was basically a cosmic variant. Well, I had to go out and gather up the last remaining crystal for a fabricator, so I teleported to Vanaland South as to try my luck at that mountain over there. But then I saw something incredibly weird. A Quadlodon. It reminds me of those goofy ass shark movies. I was teleporting back home because I didn't have a grappling hook to get past the water, but in the teleporting phase I got deleted. What? In the ocean was something really disgusting. It's not like I was expecting to see more of this freaky stuff today. It's a squid shark! Yeah.
Beautiful.
With my grapple hook, I was able to climb my way up to collect a buttload of crystal and some metal. Akisa died to floating shark inside a cave that I ignored from before to collect the crystal on top of the mountain. So that was gonna be nice to go and pick up Akisa's fangs and her featherlight, but the shark was still inside the cave. I was trying to bait him away from the cave and I noticed he was quite fast. So I put some more points into movement speed because of it. I managed to get a hold of Akisa's stuff, and I noticed she had tamed a stupid beep beep. After leaving the forge to melt shit, I finally got the fabricator crafted and running. We just had enough to make a bit of gasoline for the fabricator. On day 5, I crafted up a power generator to power our base. With my new Moby Duck, I can finally venture out in the world of Fjordur. So to start off with, I was gonna go over the swamp to gather up some polymer from decaying corpses. I also forgot about the abilities your mount has, so I tried it out. And now it works, so now I can press X and it shoots water. I just had some problems getting it to work for some reason. I searched around the swamps for a while, but then I saw a lot of numbers and a corpse, so I soul boiled my duck to keep it safe while I harvested up some polymer. What? No, 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 I'm a stone! No! No! I died in a swamp!
Astonishing.
Shut your stupid...
How am I supposed to get over there again? Akisa had me covered and she loaned me a Dimorphodon she tamed. So then we just had to fly for an eternity over there. It wasn't going fast at all, so we tried teleporting somewhat closer to the swamp. I spotted my corpse and I had Akisa helping me out this time, making it a little bit more convenient for my sake in case I die again. I could just have her pick up my stuff then. I got my inventory back and I harvested a corpse here. Hopefully it will be enough for an awesome teleporter now. Oh man, we were still missing out on a lot of electronics. Because we were gonna need a base teleporter and 2 remotes, so that would make it 120 electronics for the whole package. Anyways, I made the oil pump because we had an oil vein inside the cave where the shark killed Akisa. So I went to the cave to place it out, and then I flew over to a river where I know there was a lot of silica pearls. I quickly grabbed a bit of resources to make myself a gathering tool. It makes it so I can get more silica pearls than just hand grabbing it. Back at the base, I was tired of walking around naked, so I made myself an early set token in hopes of getting more clothes so I won't get arrested. But at this point, I think the game was kinda trying to tell me something. 2 gauntlets. Dude, it doesn't even cover my body. It's so shiny and chrome. Anyways, I had queued up a lot of electronics so I could make the awesome teleporter. Finally, we could recover our belongings. There's no need to rip out my hair anymore because we can now recover our stuff. If there's something I missed a lot, it's the soul gun. Afterwards, I flew out to the volcano to grab a bit of oil since the oil rig was kinda slow. Wait, what was that lag? Whoa! It's a reaper here! Oh, no! By the end of the day, I placed out a soul terminal to keep our dinos safe and also make the dodos passively produce us some basic eggs. On day 6, me and Akisa were out looking for possible omega dinos to tame. I had more Sumi shoes on so I could cover more landscape faster. Whoa! Oh! Akisa got literally bombarded by a fire Diplo while she was just walking next to him.
He didn't like my existence. I just want to look at the sheep under him. He said, that's my sheep. Off.
We teleported back to Vanaland where we spotted a pygmy pterodon that Akisa desperately wanted. I just had to go back to base to make the mythical kibble for it. There is also these random chests all over the place we could open with essence, but we didn't have any on us. But the chest will provide some omega stuff like souls. Akisa and I were curious what this self-destructive parasaur could do, so we started by feeding it with some attacks and blows. And speaking about blows, Akisa got yeeted and deleted out of the zone.
Did you live through that?
Yeah, I'm up on a rock. Akisa told me I could use the health potions I was carrying around to heal my tames. I didn't know that. I didn't know it would work on tames only myself. That's my fault for not being prepared with this mod. I literally just jumped into Ark Omega without any knowledge about anything. But yeah, we started taming a fire featherlight and Akisa couldn't contain her excitement. She came over here faster than being yeeted by the parasaur. Then a bit later, we were trying to knock out an ethereal dino so we could integrate it into the egg machine so we could then eventually make the beta ethereal kibble. It's a lot in this mod when you gotta catch and collect each type for every tier, especially in 100 days. Unfortunately, we discovered too late that the Pegomastax still had to be tamed the normal way and not by knocking it out like we did. On day 7, I went to check on the egg machine and it had indeed produced a bunch of eggs. Even the soul terminal had been very productive. Then I went on a killing spree with my Moby Duck to collect as many essence and souls as I could. But then I saw something extremely bizarre that only a child could come up with in their art class at kindergarten. Alright, after having my eyes ripped out, I continued on my farming, but then a Microraptor decided to handcuff me and attack me and my right from behind. But somehow I managed to pull out of there safe and sound. Back at the base, I considered making kibble for some of the betas we could, but Akisa figured it's probably better if we collect every one of each type so it's easier to keep track of it as well. So then I went out to tame some females for the egg collector. I had my eyes on this astral beaver so I knocked it out. Then I grabbed some ethereal kibble and I tamed it up. Since there were quite a few creatures to capture within every tier, I had to type down which ones we had and we didn't. We had a utility Anki right outside our base, but there was also a prime necromancer next to it, so we had to trap them all inside the billboard so we wouldn't get wiped into oblivion. I am not sure what necromancer can do, but I'm not taking the risk. Knocking out the utility Anki wasn't that difficult and it went down easy. Now we got the utility Anki, so one variant off the list for now. I just had to integrate it to the egg machine to get some easy eggs. Akisa was screwing around with her sheep and was actually torping the Rage and Kylo, and then it was out. That's just crazy to me. We were then gonna also try knocking out the Stone Stego. It's a female and a resource variant, so that would be one to knock off the list as well. I made the resource kibble, fed the Stego, and tamed it. Perfect. Okay, so we only need Nightmare, Nature, Unstable, Summon, Rage, Guardian, and Cosmic. Okay. By the end of the night, I had located a Cosmic and Kylo, which seemed to be a gamma ray. What does it do? I have no clue what the gamma ray does. I'm scared. Oh, it does something! What is that? Godlight or something? Akisa had kibble ready for me, so I could just feed it and wait for it to tame. By the next day, the Anki had finally tamed up, so I brought it back to base to fully integrate it, but then suddenly, I got teleported. Akisa, what the? I just came back and I got teleported with you. Akisa managed to get us both killed from a freaking snail. Good freaking job. Alright, the cosmic dinosaurs are done now, and there are only a handful left to catch. I went back to the spot where Akisa got me killed, because I found a nature dinosaur to catch. It wasn't a high level and will be easy to capture. Then I went to the cave to quickly grab some oil. It had produced a good chunk by now. So I was kinda looking all over the place for the last remaining variants in the basic tier. But then I got sucked into a black hole. Whoa, no! This mod is filled with a lot of dino variants, including this weird dookie poo-poo. What is that? But I had a date with this guardian pterodon today, quick and easy to knock out. There was also a summoner galley nearby too. It summoned a few bats to attack me, but nothing I couldn't handle. Alright, with these two integrated to the egg collector, I would only have the nightmare, unstable and rage left to catch. But anyways, I tracked down my missing variant and I had set my eyes on a vampire featherlight, aka a nightmare. I easily knocked it out and I went back to base to grab some kibble. Then I fed it and teleported to Akisa because she found a rage female I could easily tame up. So I placed out my handy gates and let Akisa knock it out. Akisa was apparently using something called a warp bow. I got extremely jealous of it because I only had a crossbow. But then I quickly came to realize something. Apparently the vampire featherlight I tamed wasn't a female, so I kinda screwed up. So then I tracked down a zombie dodo to catch instead, easy and effective, and one more dinosaur to knock off my list. The last variant I had left to collect was an unstable, and then by the end of the night, I was capturing the last variant for the basic tier. I also spotted some sort of a flying fish in the distance. What the hell is this, a Quetzalcoatl? On day 9, Akisa had already kickstarted by obtaining the beta variant for the ethereal. And remember, I have repeatedly said this, but I'll say it again. We have 6 tiers to tame and 12 variants to capture. Akisa had the pleasure of taming a dimensional fish as well. The dimensional fish, well, yeah, basically floats in the air.
Swish, swish, I'm on a fish.
What? Anyways, we were in need of metal, so I grabbed an Anki from the base and I teleported so we could get to this cave easier. Akisa had already starting on the second variant to tame, and it was a Pearl Anki. The Pearl Anki does not only provide us with beta resource eggs, but also silica pearls in the soul terminal. So these resource dinosaurs are quite resourceful, you could say. A bit later, I went over to the river to hook us up with some more silica pearls so we could get the chemistry bench down and a forge and such. The river wasn't 100% safe, but I was really desperate for some pearls. With some of the pearls I obtained, I was able to make a chainsaw. So those corpses by the swamp would be excellent to farm right now for some extra polymer. When I arrived, I had some trouble finding any decaying corpses as like before. There were a few here and there, but it wasn't that much honestly. But when I was about to harvest the corpse, I got snuck up by a paragon snake I never saw. Yet somehow I still had an old teleporter in the swamp, so I had to quickly run over to my duck hoping it would be still alive. Alright, I got a good amount of it, same with spoiled meat, so we could get some narcotics made eventually. But now, I was able to make the chem bench so we can finally get our hands on some fast crafting speeds. What am I looking at? Akisa managed to get an interesting item for one of the dinos she killed. It was a getaway orb, which basically summons a dino that can help you escape a sketchy situation. I was gonna go and farm some crystal, but instead my Moby Duck was taking heck of a ducking nap from the snake fight from before. But nothing I couldn't handle, I'll just have to do some primitive climbing. And then get some of this crystal collected. The next day we logged on. We apparently had a beta boogeyman raptor lurking outside our gates, which inevitably killed us both. Oh, it's not safe outside! How did I get killed? Oh my god! Like, we can't do anything about this. But I was somehow able to make a run for it. I tried baiting one of the raptors outside, but I had no clue what kind of attacks it was capable of doing to me. Oh my god! I successfully baited some of the raptors outside the gate. Don't stand still! Don't stand still! But Akisa was literally just standing still and she got punished for it. There was one last remaining raptor in the base, but we quickly disposed of it. Or well, so we thought. It decided to mess with the mammoth inside the base instead. Alright, to keep track of what kind of dinos we need, I was gonna put up some billboards outside our base and basically write everything down. I just wish there was a better way of typing down stuff on a billboard though. So I prepared by making every beta variant cable available to get myself ready to work on getting all of them. Akisa had apparently captured the harvesting Argentavis, and this one is capable of farming rocks, trees, and metal. That's kinda insane. We had a beta elemental stego outside our base that I trapped in and I spammed a lot of arrows into its thick skull. I was back at base and I grabbed some alpha arrows which seemed to do a lot more damage than the old ones. But now I have another concerning problem. There was an alpha raging raptor near my stego. I was trying to bait it off the cliff, but then it decided to attack my stego I was trying to tame. Anyways, a bit later I had found a rather easy pterodon we needed. So basically went with the good old bola, knocked it out and waited for it to tame up. Quick and easy. Back at base, Akisa replaced our old forges with the industrial one. We were gonna need it long term since a lot of the Omega stuff cost a ridiculous amount of metal. So a bit later I spotted another beta elemental to tame. But this Maywing looked like it was in a good spot. It seemed somewhat safe, so then I tried trapping it under my billboards, but it was just moving around too much. But like usual, I'm kinda unlucky and everything gets aggro to me for no apparent reason. I'm dead. Like I didn't even see this raptor nearby. There was also another major problem I ran into. Apparently my corpse was not found, so I couldn't recover my belongings at all. I ran back to the spot where I died, but there was no bag. So I kinda thought the raptor somehow took my stuff along with it. That is not good. On day 11, I went over to the spot where the raptor killed me. I checked around this part several times for a bag, but there was nothing. I honestly didn't know what to do. Oh, what? Where's my stuff? Well, there wasn't much we could do. I basically just got Ark, you could say. So I then started by making all of the gear again that I could. Even the kibble had to be remade, but it was a good thing we had collected all of the basic tiers with every variant, so we're kinda Gucci with that. I figured, since I was standing here crafting a whole new set, why not make the net launcher and test it as well? Anyways, a bit later I continued on my dino collecting, but when I netgunned this rage pterodon, I had trouble hitting him instead. Unfortunately, the pterodon escaped from my grasp and I got killed by a wyvern. When I got back here, I searched around for the pterodon and he was down in the canyon close to the wyvern. And I lost sight of it somehow and I got killed by a wyvern again and I lost my duck too. I didn't have any tames at my disposal, so I was gonna run over there, but then a feather ran of Giga just appeared. I can't outrun this. Alright, I decided to make an Omega glider suit, and that was definitely one of the best choices I ever made. Like, come on bro, I couldn't even get back to my old spot where I lost my duck. Oh! I needed the items back the duck had on him. I managed to get my saddle and the stuff back, so then me and Akisa were out searching for possible tames to get, where we ran into these weird ones. Better eyes, find and go. That's a monkey mammoth. A bit later, I had abandoned Asgard because it was just too dangerous for me to search that spot for dinos to tame, and I went to the overworld instead. But I still couldn't find anything we needed. So, I got a bit annoyed and I searched up a beta Starfire Dodo instead because I couldn't be bothered anymore and we didn't have any beta Cosmic yet. I tracked the Dodo, but I had no clue what its attack would do to me. But the next day, the Cosmic KFC was finally tamed up and its ability was pretty sick. And when I was back home integrating the Dodo, I got destroyed by an earthquake and Kylo right outside. Please. We might have to spam a few foundation in this area to prevent spawns in our base. Akisa had catched a wyvern that I could use in the meantime since the Maywing wasn't exactly capable of combat. Alright, to get out of this house, I went out to track down a nature penguin to catch. Its ability was quite crazy, but I wanted to get this done. Well, I did feed it to the kibble and I got ambushed by a Fenrir. Oh my god. I got back to the Kyrokus and I noticed there were a few ones lingering around that I could actually tame up. But that Fenrir I had to somehow get rid of so I could tame some of this in peace. The Fenrir did some sort of a water attack that damaged the wyvern pretty badly, so I kept my distance. I figured it was about time to make some health potions, but I had to make some sedatives first though. But yeah, now we got the beta nature dino fully integrated now. I only had a few left to catch, but it shouldn't be too difficult for me, I would assume. Akisa will also help out if something turns out to be too difficult. Not gonna lie, I was a bit tired of constantly going out and capturing dinos, but I didn't have much of a choice. We weren't just capable yet to attempt any bosses, and we have 5 more tiers to go through. Alright, I wanted to make some quick work of this pterodon and tame it up, but it got killed by something and eventually destroyed me too. I can't fucking believe an ant killed me. But not to worry, I got the main wing knocked out instead close to our base in Asgard, so beta utility will be crossed off the list. Well, in regard to taming these dinos, they don't have to be special. I just need something that's easy, fast, and produces a lot of egg. Bro, like these fucking nameless can go f themselves. I couldn't even see that asshole coming over to me. When I tried going back and securing my featherlight, a raptor ate it, so all that was for nothing. Uh-oh. Well, the Beta Guardian Featherlight was no Gucci, but there was just one thing with the overworld. It seems less chaotic in comparison to Asgard right now. And not too far away, I had located the Beta Elemental RG. Ooh. I was lucky and avoided some of his attacks, but my nets were being goofy for some reason. It was about to break free from the net, so I placed down a couple of billboards, but I quickly learned my lesson. Well, I made it back to the RG and I was still stuck inside the trap, luckily. Usually they tend to escape from my traps whenever I die. I was also going through some of the dinos with their abilities. I was basically just trying to get a better understanding of a few of them. These Colossus dinos were kinda cool and would be nice to have, so I was gonna try trapping it in and taming it for the collection. But it wasn't in a good area, there was Wyvern all over the place. Well, despite the Wyvern there, I kinda just went for it and I knocked it out. But when I was about to feed it its favorite meal, I got slayed by the Wyvern. Oh no! And getting back over there proved to be a problem too. I got back to the pterodon and I managed to bait one of the Wyverns away so I could feed and then tame it. I can't say I was pleased about this at all. I was still pressing on getting these tames done. I had tracked down this nightmare parasaur, but I was just getting attacked and aggroed in its place. There was just too many things around here, so I picked it up on my Wyvern and brought it over to the cave. Alright, now I have the nightmare. The only left is a summoner, but I will also have to choose what kind of summoner I want to get. There were a few of them to choose from too. I decided to aim for a necromancer pterodon. They are easy and effective to tame, and they poop out eggs fast. Oh, what? Oh, come on, you motherfucker. The pterodon was still alive, luckily, and I soulballed it super quick. Now, all the beta variants are done capturing, and we're basically off to tame the alpha variants. Akisa had the idea of us making some super arrows, but it was gonna be real expensive to make. And of course, if you know us well enough, you know that we can't go without any armor skins. So guys, rate my drip.
Nice.
Anyways, Akisa wanted to head out to the bee cave to tame up an obsidian snail that passively produces, well, yeah, obsidian, but we got nuked by a dire bear. Well, we couldn't really do too much right now because we're still waiting on some beta eggs to be produced so we could tame the alphas. On day 14, I went to the mountain to quickly farm just a touch of stuff. We were kinda low on everything. Collecting polymer is so easy on Fjordur. I really wish we had this map on Asa, but then again, Asa is just stupidly dumb to run on any PC, even mine. So a bit later, I wanted to get myself a mining drill to gather up things faster. We were gonna actually start working in a greenhouse because we couldn't progress any further since the next tier of kibble actually requires crops. So I had decided to go over to the aberration cave to collect up some crystals since it had quite a lot. But on my flight over there, I got melted by an iguanodon. And of course, my duck too. Well, either way, I made it to the cave on the back of my environment, but I got a bit concerned since all I could see was big numbers. I had 2 Omega Souls appearing, so I picked them up carefully and ran like hell. Whatever killed those 2 is probably around here still, and a noob might be in the menu today. Akisa had made some progress on the greenhouse. We just needed some fertilizer to get it going. Alright, the next day we had some crops ready to be harvested, so now I could finally make the alpha kibble and go out and tame all of the alpha variants. I was being lazy and I didn't want to waste my time trying to find specific dinos, so I just used the scanner to look for a good effective alpha cosmic. What? It was easily knocked out since it was literally a duck. We love ducks. And not too far away was a zombie duck. Well, nightmare. I couldn't leave it behind now, could I? I need this. A third duck was about to be obtained as well, a bit further into the forest, but for some reason the net gun didn't work on it. What? Well, I can probably knock it out with one arrow. Yep. So to keep track of our dinos, Akisa made a spreadsheet so we knew exactly what we had and what we needed to obtain. And at this moment we quickly realized that the lucky tier wasn't necessary to have on the list. Then back in Asgard, I got myself an elemental alpha duck, so now we didn't have that many left to obtain. I also went out for one of these pygmy alpha Maywings, but here is the one thing I didn't realize about it until I started looking at the footage. It's just a basic mythical. And to break a bit from taming, Akisa was super excited about showing me a tame she captured.
Yeah, I'm keeping my ass on ground from now on. No water.
Well, pressing on, I still had a big deal of variants to capture still. So in the middle of my trying to knock out this unstable duck out, I discovered a weird combination of a dino. A fish with wings. I switched targets immediately and I started tranking it. Akisa would freak out if she saw this one. Alright, I got it tamed up now, so I could continue on getting my Maywing, but it wasn't in a good spot. It had flown to a more calm area, so I could tame it up in peace. It knew exactly what I was thinking. But now I had to show Akisa the fish and she was in a big shock.
Oh my god, he's beautiful.
What?
Oh my god.
On day 16, I wanted to try capturing this alpha nature void wyvern. I was gonna integrate it for eggs, but I kinda just wanted to test it out first. And I also ran out of trank arrows in the worst possible time too, especially since it was trapped. After making a bunch of arrows, I got back to the void wyvern and he had already escaped from my grasp. And as I was trying my best to trap it in under a net and stop it from getting killed, I got too close to a mammoth. Okay. And now the void wyvern was unaffected by the net gun, it kinda seemed like. And once it started working, the mammoths tried their best to kill it. And for some goddamn reason, when I was gonna feed it, I got kicked out of its inventory. What? I'm stuck! After my respawn, I tried getting rid of the geodog, but like these geodogs were so buggy, I couldn't do anything about it. And I had mammoths trying to kill my wyvern at the same time, making it a very sweaty moment. Then a bit later, I captured myself an alpha rage, which didn't give me any trouble. And then down in Asgard, I had to try taming myself an alpha ethereal, but then I noticed that one of our tames died in the middle of everything. So I quickly rushed back to my base on my wyvern and Akisa was trying to capture it instead. Alright, now I just had a few of them left to capture, but I was looking through the list to see what possible ones I could get to make the taming a bit easier. In one of the coldest places, I tamed up this alpha taming kangaroo, which can be used to trank out dinos. A bit later, I went for an alpha resource dodo, and this one can passively produce pearls, which is also nice. On day 17, when I was tracking down a fairy Argentavis, I scouted something called a skrill sword. It also did some kind of a purple breath. While I was shooting a few arrows to trank him out, I thought it would be cool to try out a new kangaroo for taming, but the torpor it did in comparison was kinda bad, and not only that, it also damaged it pretty heavily. Alright, I had to go back on the task and get the alpha mythical. I was a little bit worried that it died in the mix of those dinos, but it was smart and it flew away, so I could tame it up perfectly. All there was left to capture was this alpha guardian. Shouldn't be any problem whatsoever. Well, for the prime dinos, I couldn't jump into it immediately because we need the dinos I has obtained to generate some eggs. Otherwise, I can't make the kibble. And the higher tiers of kibble requires a bunch of jerky and vegetable cakes, so it might be a good time to set up some preserving bins, I think. Then a bit later, I was out helping Akisa because she wanted to capture an alpha self-destructive Maywing. I have no clue what she wants to do with that, but she is not allowed to be near me with that shit. I still have memories of the suicide dodo from Primal Fear. But that didn't end well. Ah! It wasn't even close! Back at the base, I put down a hatchery because Akisa wanted to test out some breeding, so I got that all set up for her. Well, that's just great. Now we have a self-destructive baby duck in the base, and hopefully it won't explode. Okay, after reading what self-destructive does, it only explodes whenever you kill it or something. Then a bit later, I went over to a spot where I know there spawns a lot of metal. We were in for a lot of things to craft, and Akisa needed it for her future project. On day 18, we were finally ready to jump into tier 4 Prime. I had a lot of primes to choose from, and I didn't know which one I wanted. I had trouble choosing because I wanted to also use the dino for combat to collect souls and essence, since making the kibble cost a lot of that. I saw something called the Carnis Wyvern on a scanner, and that had me extremely curious. So then I flew out to it to check what the heck it was. What is that?
Special effects.
No, I'm looking at the Vyvern. That's not a Wyvern. What is that?
Holy Jesus.
Bruh, this is not what I wanted. That does not look like a Wyvern.
It's so cute.
I don't want that. That's poor man's Wyvern. No wings. Afterwards, I went to check out the Singularity Alpha Raptor. The only reason for that was because of its massive health pool. I was checking to see if it was also capable of getting trapped within the net gun.
Nope.
On day 19, Akisa came over to help me with the Alpha Raptor. I trapped it in and we tried tranking it, but it felt hopeless since after a few minutes of shooting a few arrows here and there, its torpor only went up 20,000 or so. I then decided to go for a Prime Singularity Tech Spino instead. So I placed out my trap and then I tried baiting him over to me, but it didn't work to plan. No! And now for some reason, he wasn't falling for my arrows and was just chilling by the water. And then he managed to get in there, but I wasn't paying attention to the black hole and I got sucked up. But this right here is our very first proper powerhouse that did pretty good damage to our current tames. And with the keys of Bifrost ability and my black hole, we were able to destroy an Omega Dino and get its soul. I was really enjoying the black hole ability, the damage was great. From one of the creatures I killed, it dropped a unique saddle. I got something called a Hulk saddle token. Consume this saddle token to receive one Hulk unique saddle for Ankylosaurus. This token can also be placed in an Omega altar along with basic for Omega essence to summon a saddle god that can be killed to receive an imbued saddle that can be rerolled. And a bit further away, I bumped into Beta Ludoa that dropped so much loot, but it wasn't that great though. On day 20, Akisa wanted to capture herself a Prime Wyvern, so I had to go out and help her. I left Akisa to tame the Fireburst on her own while I went outside the cave to clear off some dangerous dinos, making the area somewhat safer. The cave was still a bit dangerous because there wasn't a Mega Wyvern roaming inside there, but I managed to bait it outside and that was a bit sketchy because I could have lost my Spino. Finally, Akisa captured the last Wyvern she wanted from the cave. I was kinda over the place already, to be honest. Then back at the base, I took a look through some of the Omega structures. There were a lot of important ones here to look out for, like the Omega Beacon. What's an Omega Beacon? Sacrifice souls. Sacrifice souls to lure in wild creatures to kill or tame. Placing the beacon in the water will summon various water creatures. Sacrificing 100 souls in the beacon will summon a boss creature required for progression. Oh, so that's what it is. And then I was outside killing some beavers and one of them dropped a quest scroll. The quest scrolls are basically exactly what they are. With the quest scroll, you basically perform a task and they reward you with some Paragon souls. There we go. It's a pretty neat system, I can agree on that. But when you can't select a different reward, it kinda sucks. On day 21, we spent the majority of our time killing a lot of dinos for their essence. We were severely lacking out on tranks for taming the next tier, and it was the same deal for kibble making. In Ark Omega, there is a scoreboard embedded to the mod where you can see your levels, deaths and such. I didn't see my name paper, but I must be the test character since I had to jump onto the server to make sure everything was working. Anyways, I went out once again to continue farming where I managed to get a hold of a unique saddle for a Pterodon. And then I found one of these chests, so I gave it a try and I opened it. It gave a lot of souls and some other random drops. A bit later, Akisa took me down to one of these caves down in the mines of Moria, where it spawned a lot of Omega Dinos to kill. It had Dinos ranging from basic tier to Omega, so keeping it safe and calm was the way to go. And yeah, I also died. Go! Then a bit later, I wanted to try taming myself a Prime Starfire Wyvern, so I would be able to fly all over the place and kill stuff. The Spino was cool, but it was very limited to just walking on the ground, and I wanted a flyer. My Wyvern was capable of summoning a sun that dealt immense damage. Pressing on with the tiers, I had tracked down a Prime Nature Pterodon, but there was like no opening for me in this forest. It was freaking chaos. I inevitably died from a bug. Oh my god. This area was more dangerous than I thought it was gonna be. After respawning, I cleaned up the place a bit so I could tame it in peace. It wouldn't be a classic video with a Pegomastic stealing my awesome teleporter. Oh, he took my awesome teleporter. Give it back. And when I was tracking down a Prime Parasaur, I bumped into Prime Elemental Carno, but I was having some difficulties. Well, rip duck. I'm surprised if it survives that. Well, the duck was still alive and the Carno was just hammering it, but I eventually catched it. So now I was able to get over to the Parasaur to knock it out and tame it. Easy peasy. But when I came back to base to integrate those dinos, we quickly found out that Ark Omega has a tracker of what dinos you have integrated to the egg collector. So the spreadsheet we were using became kinda pointless. Down in Vanaheim, I was tracking a prime featherlight, but I didn't realize there was a cave here filled with light pits. Last time we played, they existed in the Genesis zone underwater until they got removed for no apparent reason. I checked around if there was any more primes down here to tame what we needed, but there was nothing. Akisa didn't allow me to kill any of these light pits, they were apparently too cute to kill. Later I picked up a prime Moshaps because I felt dizzy from visiting this forest due to dying so many times, and I brought it to my safety cave. But here is something really interesting. When I was about to go and tame up a prime scorpion, I saw something on fire walking around. It was a compy called the Firecracker, and I must tell you, this creature here is a unique variant. Unique variants doesn't have one ability but two, so best of both worlds really. Most variants only have one ability like my Wyvern. And for this one, you need to give it a unique kibble. There is a separate tab for it in the kibble machine. I continued on my quest to tame up all of the prime variants, and the scorpion was still waiting for me, so I grabbed it with my Wyvern to get him to a safer area. For the next prime, I wanted to try capturing a more interesting dino, but I was quite unsure if it would work for the egg production, but I was like, let's ball. Hitting it with the arrows was a little difficult, no cap. Hopefully it lays eggs. Akisa really enjoyed the bee I tamed up, but she was so sad when it was about to get grinded down into the egg collector. I was getting close to capturing all primes, and I was on a roll to capture a prime nightmare owl. And much later, I tracked down something called a Vepent. It intrigued me enough to dive down into the ocean, and most of you guys know I have thalassophobia. Trying to hit him with my net gun and arrows was a huge struggle. It was just slithering around, it was so difficult to tag. And after like 10 minutes of doing this, I was kinda thinking to myself, why am I even wasting my time trying to tame this? I was still trying to knock it out on day 25, and I can tell you I was getting frustrated with this. And after a long time, it was finally knocked out and tamed. I had fun slithering around killing things. But I had to get back on taming primes. I didn't have that many left to capture. It was just a summoner and a resource left. So I tracked down a prime summoner Parasaur and I quickly tamed it up. And then I went to collect the last one, and we should be done with this prime tier. On day 26, I had to get an industrial cooker made because the next tier kibble required sweet vegetable cakes. And after placing it out, we kinda ran out of metal, so I had to go to the canyon to farm up metal again. Our track arrows are pretty expensive too. And while harvesting some metal, we got destroyed by a super turkey that I didn't even spawn. Ow! So after our respawn, Akisa had something to show me she pooped out. It was a disgusting craptor. I don't know what she's gonna use it for though. I guess she's just gonna sit on it and smell it. Anyways, to get the veggie cakes made, I had to craft up some structures for a tree house so we could collect some tree sap. I just stopped by the nearest tree to the green obelisk in a close and calm area. Thereafter, me and Akisa went out to the bee cave to harvest up a lot of dinos for the soul and essence, but I mostly just needed the polymer and honey. I also managed to pick up a quest scroll from the ceiling where the mission was to kill 2000 wild dinos. And then back at base, I got veggie cakes cooked up so I could make our very first ultimate cosmic kibble. I wasn't gonna go on a taming spree just yet because we wanted to sort out some tames first for killing. The prime spine was starting to feel very weak in comparison. Alright, so now I had the kibble, so I was tracking down an ultimate gamma ray Wyvern. This one is gonna be amazing to have. I managed to get his attention so I could netgun him, but while I was trying to knock it out, an alpha deathworm appeared out of nowhere. Whoa, why is there an alpha? And just because I had to escape, I got completely f***ed because of it. They bought time for the Wyvern to escape, such assholes. After getting him trapped again, I was able to get him knocked out and tamed up. But here's one thing you might ask, why didn't I keep it to myself? Honestly, Akisa's OG Wyvern was pretty dog shit, so I got her a better one, and she liked the Bifrost kind of ability so. On day 27, I went by the red forest to pick up the sap, and we were freaking stockpiled with sap for days, man. We needed a lot of it to make the veggie cake since the ultimate kibble required it. But then back at base, we had a supernova Vyron swinging by to greet us. Oh, he destroyed all the preserving bins! There also seemed to be some kind of problem with the Omega armor that allowed me to walk over walls, and this is not what I expected to happen. What? Oh, Kisa, I'm stuck.
What you doing up there, you goose?
Ow, I took damage! It was time to get back into the grinding again, so I made all of the ultimate kibble variants to prepare myself for a taming fest. I flew out to an ultimate cosmic raptor that was being backed up by a whole gang of dinos, so I had to try trapping mine in and distract the others away. And after a bit of jumping here and there, I got it knocked out and tamed. Now 11 remains to be captured. On day 28, I had to start cooking up better sedatives. My trank arrows were pretty weak, and taming that raptor the other day was a bit harder with the prime arrows than usual. But I wouldn't let that stop me. I was continuing on my journey to tame all of these ultimates. And when I flew over this crystal Vyron boss, I noticed it had 8 billion HP that could only be damaged by land tames. Me and my Maywing weren't really there yet. I had tracked down an ultimate elemental pterodon, but with my zero knowledge of the mod, I had no clue what he was gonna do to me. I saw the pterodon flying in the air, so I did some aerial moves to trap him in order to knock him out. But like usual, this boy here is severely unlucky, and right as he tamed the pterodon, something swept in. Oh my god! I was tired of the way I had to tame the dinos, so I had tracked down an ultimate guardian griffin to use to tame dinos instead. It's highly overpowered, but I honestly don't care. I would rather have a dino that helps me with taming than losing my skibbity toilet brain. Knocking it out wasn't that hard now when I had the ultimate trank arrows. There might be a redemption for all my deaths when I scouted an ultimate rage penguin. After I tamed up the penguin, I saw a random chest that asked me for 1,000 basic essence, so I quickly jumped back to the base to grab it. The loot wasn't really high tier, but that's not what I expected. But the Paragon Soul might come handy later. The taming feast continues on day 29 by catching an ultimate guardian dillo. They are perfect for egg layers and lay eggs really fast. And then I had a few concerning dinos all over the place where everyone wants a piece of me. But not today, son. I got my trusty but yet deadly Azrael, which loves summoning black holes to decimate everyone in their path. And taming these dinos was perfect now, all thanks to the Griffin. He was the real goat. Then I went for an ultimate summoner that summons minions of himself, but they were taking a huge snap at didn't defend their master. Truly unfortunate for him, but good for me. There was for some reason another ultimate Moshops down here in Asgard, but I didn't have a nightmare yet, so it would be perfect to capture right now. But there was a very annoying raptor trying to kill my Moshops that I kept trapped until the Moshops was mine. I actually discovered there is an element dino you can capture. Wait, there's an element? There's an element creature you can get. When I was about to grab the element Ankylo, I flew over some golden loot which proved to be better than I imagined. Primitive Stego saddle, are you kidding me? Oh, it's a unique saddle! Unique saddle Stegosaurus gains armored variant, gains resilient variant, 500% impale weight threshold, creates resource shard when hit, armor bonus increased, damage taken reduced, swim speed increased. Okay, that's a good saddle. Anyways, I tracked the Anky down and tamed it. I wasn't 100% sure how to get it to produce element, but I left it in the terminal since it usually works for everything. And then by the end of the night, I had tracked down an ultimate resource pterodon to capture. Next day, when I was about to reset my recording for day 30, my pterodon got killed by all sorts of random dinos lingering in the area. So I had to go track down another dino, and it was the Moshops, and I brought it back to the metal cave to keep it safe. After coming back from a toilet visit, I tracked down an ultimate nature Lystro to capture it. The Lystro is good for egg production, I believe, but don't take my word for it. I have died over 50 times on Ark Omega, so I don't think you should trust me. I went to kill a Paragon with my Spino as well, it might come handy. And for the next one, I decided to aim for an ultimate ethereal Dilophosaurus, but there was just one small problem. So if I knock this one out, is it gonna be knocked out in the air or something? Oh, I knocked it out! Oh, it stays up in the air! Oh, wait. Ultimate ethereal. Oh, lit. Alright, what's so special about the Dimension Dillo is that he can remove any type of water on the map for the player. But I had no clue what he did at that time though. Wait, what has happened to the water? Why is there no more water in the ocean? Well, when I flew over to tame myself an ultimate unstable Lystro, I discovered something truly beautiful. What is that? Alpha Siren Carboplerodon? It's a turtle Bliplerodon. Nice. On day 31, I was finishing up the ultimate tier of all the variants. So now we'll probably have to wait for eggs to be produced. But in the meantime, I could probably try to decide what kind of creature I would want since there are so many to choose from. I love the idea of cosmic dinos with the power of the cosmos. Then it was decided. So I went out to capture an Omega Supernova Argentavis, which is the strongest single target DPS creature. The Argentavis got annoyingly knocked out in the worst spot ever. The Argentavis was fun to play around with, especially its nuke ability. And with my newly acquired confidence, I decided to fight off Omega Stegos, but one of them got me kicked off my RG, so I died. What? Well, my RG was still alive, and I was trying my best to kill the Stego, but it was extremely tanky. I couldn't understand how. But after a couple of minutes of spam clicking here and there, it was then finally killed, and it dropped a unique saddle token for the Stego. Oh my god! But either way, I was previously tracking an Omega Loot RG, so when I killed it, I got a hold of a lot of blueprints and items. And after Kisa tried out my Supernova RG, she wanted one as well. But there weren't too many Supernova subs, but she was also interested to give the Gamma Ray a try too. But before I could go out and capture it, Akisa brought me back to the new base she had been working on to show me something amazing she found. It was a unique saddle token for the Argentavis, something we really need right now. We get unique bonuses, 300% melee damage, 50% damage reduction, gains eruption variant, passively taunts enemies, and double movement speed. And I was surprised how fast the bird can now fly since the Argis are usually a slow flyer. Oh my god! And the Argis melee damage was even stronger now with the saddle, which made it amazing. On day 33, me and Akisa were gonna go capture ourselves a Gamma Ray Argis together. And with our newly obtained Argis, we're gonna be able to gather up a bunch of souls and essence easier now since we could start making tranks and kibble. It has been a struggle farming since most creatures are also an Omega level, but now we are finally here. We also noticed that the cosmic type we had tamed in Ultimate here was producing eggs extremely slow too. So then we went out to capture an Ultimate Cosmic Maywing. They're good for eggs, so this will basically be the very terminal we have to use to summon our very first bosses to kill in this mod. I honestly didn't really do anything for this state because we were just waiting for more eggs to make some kibble. For the majority of day 34, I was flying around in each individual realm and zone to hunt for a lot of loot creatures. I was very curious if we could get our hands on any good Omega items. Plus, I would get some souls too, which will be important later on. Sometimes this is just an annoying occurrence in Ark Omega. You get literally jump scared for no reason without realizing what hit you. Anyways, from the loot dinos, I got a very important weapon called the Warp Bow, which is incredibly powerful for knocking out dinos. The long neck and crossbow won't even come close to the Warp Bow. The next day, I was testing out my new bow to knock out an Ultimate Comet Argentavis, and the bow was freaking incredible. Holy crap! But the reason why we tamed one is because Akisa wanted to test out the breeding with his Argis. She was curious if it was possible to move over the Comet ability to an Omega. Alright, I think it's about time to get Omega Dinos tamed up. So I waited long enough and I was able to make all the necessary kibble to tame Omegas. Well, you guys get the deal here. Knock out the Dino and tame it. Omega Elemental done. Then back in Asgard was an Omega Garden to get, but there was also some sort of a death worm lurking nearby. Or so I thought. Beta collected bold... Oh, that's a bold worm! But I quickly noticed that my powerful warp bow couldn't torpor it since I didn't have a unique or a legendary warp bow. But we could still use a compound bow for this. Akisa got the bold worm knocked out and I dipped into the water to pick up my pterodon. I didn't know what to say about the bold worm though. I guess it was interesting? Question mark? Day 36 started with an Omega Mythical Pterodon. The fairy type is known for its healing capabilities, but I'm not sure we're gonna use it for that though. And then a bit further away, I got another pterodon tamed up, a nightmare even, so we can cross that off our list of things we have now. Then I tracked down an Omega Nature Maywing, I knocked it out and tamed it without any issues. We're getting really close capturing all of the variants now though, which feels great. And then down in Asgard was an Omega Rage Maywing that I easily tamed. I only had a few remaining ones left to tame up now. And then down in Vanaheim, I was capturing an Omega Resource Dillo when I got rudely interrupted by some overgrown birds, but they were easily disposable. Then in the overworld, I captured myself an Omega Summoner Parasaur, but at this point here, you guys, you know what's going on, so let's quickly go through the last ones. And then I went back up to Asgard to capture the Omega Utility Dino. A raptor was gonna be the sacrifice for this one. Then I had to go get another Omega Cosmic since we were using the Argus for killing and such, and we didn't have any Omega babies to integrate just yet. So by day 37, I had finally caught all of the Omegas and I could integrate them for some egg production. I was also a bit tired of not having any set bonus for my armor, so I made a few early set tokens to see if I could get lucky and get some more armor for my set. The Bloodlust set armor intrigued me the most because of its Bloodlust mode and Malice damage. Basically just some extra damage to my tames, I think. Akisa wanted to show me the Hades torch he made in Omega table. It was doing decent damage, but that's not something I would wanna play around with. A bit later, I was tracking down an Omega Meteor Alpha Megalodon to tame, but I discovered its torpor was just too much for me to handle. Oh, it's blue! It has 22 million torpor! There's no way I can knock it out!
But Megalodon.
Oh, you think you can do it?
No.
So then I decided to kill some fishes nearby for some easy souls, but then I fumbled when I looked at the shark squid's HP and I got my prime Spino killed. I was freaking devastated. So on day 38, I wanted to figure out what kind of bows you could get for taming these alpha dinos. And for taming these, I need to get something called the Quantum Entanglement or the String Theory, which is a legendary warp bow. And then I went back to base to check on Akisa, and she was super busy breeding these orbs and building the base. I went back out again to kill a few loot dinos to see if that unique or legendary weapon would drop, but I wasn't lucky and it never did. Day 39 was spent on killing literally everything. I was killing everything I came across to see if any of those bows would drop at all. Not like my bow was bad or anything, but that legendary warp bow would be cool to have. It's also very satisfying finding a big group of dinos to drop a ray of light on top of them and destroy them all. But getting the souls and essence was also very important too, since we need all of them. Ark Omega is a literal grind fest. So after all of that farming, I still didn't get my legendary warp bow, but I farmed a lot of souls and essence. I like the fact that the Griffin has been very useful to me for transporting me around, but I wanted to get something as fast but also very powerful instead. So I tracked one down and it was inside the mountain for some oddball reason. But he managed to reveal himself a little bit and I didn't really think through this and I got wrecked by its ability. Oh my god. The unique saddle for the Vyron seemed freaking amazing, but we didn't really have one yet. On day 41, I was out trying to capture myself an Omega Singularity RG. The black hole sucking ability is just too fun to play around with. But then Akisa decided she wanted to breed it, so I just added it to the pile. Then a bit later, I had to try catching myself a dung beetle. Our greenhouse didn't have automation just yet since we were missing this little bug. So then I brought the bug closer to base to knock it out. What? Lag! I quickly had to zoom back to base to make the kibble, but when I got back to the dung beetle, there was a few hyenodons nibbling on my bug. Something's attacking my dung beetle! Oh, it's stupid hyenodons. Oh my god! As soon as I tame this, I'm gonna use it to kill you guys. Here comes the meteor, boom. It does 5k with the meteor, by the way. The dung beetle is freaking useless. Brother. In Ark Omega are these miracles you can get for the whole server, which gives off a few perks. But anyways, me and Akisa went out and killed a few Paragon RGs to power up our own ones. And that's kinda how we spent the rest of the day. On day 42, the grind continued for the RGs, but I saw an opening to jump into this tornado here and it was wonderful. Flying loot and dead dinos. But after all of this farming, it finally dropped. The unique warp bow, but it was pretty shit. A bit later, I wanted to go for an Omega Gamma Ray Metallic Shark, and I tested it out with the new bow for this, and it was dog shit. I got him. Tame. Cosmic Kibble. Oh, yes! Oh my god, it's so beautiful. I told Akiza to head over to me to check out this golden quadlodon, but I never expected her to teleport to me instead. Well, yeah, she kinda got dismounted because the Argitosis touched the water, and the loot was awful. It's just basic items but in ascendant quality. Alright, I figured it. Since it's day 43, it might be time to start making health potions because we are nearing of doing our very first set of bosses. Then a bit later, I noticed that there was a Paragon Megalodon up, so I wanted to go kill it to level up my Tech Megalodon. But then I noticed that the Paragon Soul didn't work for the Tech Megalodon. Just because it's a Tech variant makes the Paragon Soul unusable on my Megalodon. Omega is very strict with the Paragon Souls apparently. So basically, for the start of the next day, I was out gathering up a lot of souls and essence while waiting for Akiza to launch her game. We were planning on doing bosses very soon, and I didn't want to do them alone since this is our first time playing Omega. Oh, I killed 2,000 wild dinos. Oh yeah. Complete. I got 2 Paragon Souls. And after farming a bit, I went back home to make the Omega Beacon, which is for summoning our very first bosses of this mod. But I didn't want to place it out by the base, I wanted an open safe area for this, so I flew around looking around for a viable spot. I had decided to place it out by Asgard. It was widely open here and will be perfect for our boss fights. So basically, you drop in 100 souls of any variant and it will pop out the boss, and 10 for random dinos. On day 45, I had spent the entire day just flying back and forth in all of the realms for one particular item. A unique saddle for a crystal Vyron, but no matter how many I killed, none of them had that unique saddle ring around them. I didn't know at the time either, but I thought they would also drop randomly even though they didn't have the circle. On day 46 was time for our very first bosses of Ark Omega. I had grabbed all of the necessary souls to fight all of the 8 boss variants. There was also a calculator we could use to indicate how much each boss would have for health and how much damage they would deal to us too. It was quite a resourceful tool, it's just too bad I was very confused on how to progress. We summoned our first boss and it was the Singularity Manticore with 30 million HP. It wasn't scary at all and the mate boost damage we dealt was pretty good. It was just too bad that the black hole ability I had didn't work on it since it was the same type as my RG. When I killed it, it dropped its boss soul and some goodies. And the second boss was an iceburst dragon that literally got melted by us. It also gave us a bunch of tech ramps unlike the Manticore. The teleported Dodo was a bit more annoying since it literally teleports away every now and then, making our attacks miss. The monkey after that stood no chance for our wombo combo. We felt pretty powerful with our RD so far. The next one after that was the Loot Dragon, and he was a lot tougher than the monkey since he had a massive damage reduction. Oh, he's tanky. The dragon took a little bit longer than we thought, but then he fell and we got a lot of different kind of loot that was actually garbage. And close to the end of the day, we fought a fairy Megapithecus. It didn't seem like it had any special abilities at all and we destroyed it. Another day, another monkey. But this time, its freezing ability was a bit dangerous since it could literally kill us if we got frozen any longer. The next one was a zombie Manticore boss. If it managed to kill either of us, our artists would turn into zombies and turn on us instead. That's its zombie ability. And it's not like that is gonna happen though. Our Borbs were freaking strong. The knockback monkey did a little bit more damage than anyone, especially the stone throw. And the Dodorex wasn't too much of a threat and we easily defeated it. I would have loved my own Dodorex though, but seeing how this mod works, I don't think it will be possible. The Overlord Dragon got kinda clapped, so nothing special there honestly. But here's where the first problem occurred for us. We summoned the utility boss variant, and you need a utility variant to be able to damage the boss at all. No! So then I decided to track down an Omega Harvesting Rex I had prepared with the basic saddle already. Then I went back to base to kill off a few birds we had on standby to level up the Rex. And then I was ready to face the boss with my utility dino. Akisa went out to capture one of her own while I was dealing damage to the manticore. And Akisa joined in on the fight when the boss was about 500k health. It took a while for Akisa to track one down. That was our last variant boss defeated, and we unlocked a bunch of engrams from all of that, which was awesome. On day 48, we went over the engrams we had unlocked. Not the tech ones, but the omega ones for defeating those variant basic bosses. I made a soul grinder and I placed it down. And what's so special about this one is that we can upgrade any variant we want from basic level all the way up to omega tier. I wasn't really sure what those tokens did though. Anyways, I wanted to try out this soul furnace and see what the hype was about. It can apparently craft things really fast when powered by souls. But there was one thing we could do to speed that forge up even faster, but to do that we had to pull a few omega souls from our storage to grind down into soul shards. Akisa made a soul furnace intensifier which goes into the trophy slot in the forge. But I can't tell if it did anything. Oh god! It's crafting so fast my FPS is dying. I crafted a tech replicator too, so we can make the tech generator and power our base wirelessly. But we were unfortunately out of black pearls. Wow! So then we were out in the ocean trying to farm sea creatures for black pearls, but there weren't too many squids around. This is also something I get really annoyed about too. It's like when it drops a soul or something, I have to dismount to pick up the item and it usually doesn't go as I want. A bit deeper into the ocean, I found one squid, but it didn't really give us that much black pearls though. On day 49, I was helping Akisa to knock out an Omega Quadlodon because she still didn't have anything for exploring the ocean depths. And she loves sharks, so getting her a Quadlodon is 4 times more fun for her. Akisa got her Quadlodon tamed, and I'm not gonna lie, it looked pretty stupid. Definitely not the kind of shark I would want. So, with the ocean being poo-poo of black pearls, we decided to fly into the Magmasaur cave and grab the pearls instead there. It was really profitable going down into the Magmasaur cave. Akisa got about 3k black pearls from harvesting them with the gathering tool. But then, I was able to make the tech generator finally. I actually wanted to get the transfer control unit up and running too, so it will basically sort out all of our items we gather up from dinos. And dumping souls and sorting stuff like that takes a hot minute every time we come back to the base. So this is kinda why we need it. So Void Vacuum uses this powerful vacuum of space to draw in and hold any loose items dropped nearby. It will also collect items from bag drops, so you can basically pick up stuff from the ground with this, I think. I wasn't sure how useful it would be, but I'll try it out. It was something I wanted to set up today, and that was the TCU with tech sensors. So basically, every time we step into this marked zone, it will then empty our inventory and put the souls and essence into their designated boxes I choose. After a long time of tinkering around with the TCU and sensor, it then successfully worked. Actually, perfect. After a bit of research, I found a mod called the Loot Picker Upper that lets you pick up drops around you while mounted, simply by pressing down a keybind. It's gonna be perfect to have in our playthrough for this mod. Towards the end of the day, I had looked through the Ark Omega spreadsheet and I found a list of unique creatures you could capture. I checked my scanner to see if there was any of those unique trilobites, and there was. On day 51, I had tracked down a unique trilobite and I noticed it needed beta unique kibble. So I shifted back to base to make the kibble. It was easily knocked out with one arrow, but like every other time, trying to tame it, I get shit on by some random ass dino. Oh my god! The spirit trilobite was still alive and I just had to deal with a certain business first. Are you serious? Alright, what's so special about the spirit trilobite? It's a unique dino which has 2 abilities and not like one like any other omega. I wanted to get this trilobite upgraded, but we didn't have any paragons to evolve it. But luckily we had a crap ton of them on the map, so upgrading it wouldn't be an issue. Akisa had the dimensional coelacanth for us to use to get rid of the water, but it didn't seem to work properly at all. Like, we literally just thought it was bugged at this point. So then I decided to go try taming another dimensional to see if that would make any difference. It certainly did a difference, but once we went underwater, it no longer works, so I don't know. It kinda felt pointless taming that RG now. Ah! Alright, despite that, I had to start collecting the Paragon trilobites. But before we went off to the next one, Akisa found a really screwed up creature which looked like it was from Pokemon or something.
Carcanine, gotta catch him now.
Then back at the base, I made the upgrade tokens and I upgraded the Trilobite. Ooh, it's an alpha now. On day 52, I killed a dodo that gave me a unique saddle while I was about to go farm some more Trilobite Paragons. War Chicken saddle token. I needed all of this Trilobite. Any minuscule of Trilobite Paragons were paramount in order to make mine a literal god. So ultimate, boom, and then Omega. Omega, boom. Unfortunately though, we didn't have a unique saddle for my Trilobite yet, but that would be freaking sick to have. The Trilobite was strong and was capable of doing already 1,000,000 damage, but that wasn't enough. I'm gonna need more. I was gonna show off the damage to Akisa, but I know there's a little small problem though. The Trilobite couldn't keep up the speed with everything else. But I'm very strong!
Holy Jesus.
Wow.
I gave the Trilobite a few points now, and it should make it a little bit stronger. And then back at the base, I placed down this so-called imbue station where you can give item stats, reroll, and even upgrade the quality of the item. The next day, me and Akisa were looking through the guide, and I can tell you that this mod packs a lot of content. Akisa also noticed that the boss beacon got somehow destroyed, so I flew out there and I checked it, and it was completely gone. Alright, now we got the new area settled whenever we need to drop by here and do some more bosses. But since we were here, I wanted to test out some beta level bosses with the Trilobite. The damage it was capable of doing was insane, but its cooldown was a big letdown. But honestly, it's fine since it's able to pump out that high level damage. But I made a grave mistake bringing the Trilobite to the Megapithecus boss fight, since I got literally frozen. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm frozen, I'm gonna die. Well, there goes that fun. Oh well, nothing I could do about it. I didn't want to think about it anymore, so I tested out this new item fragmenter we had unlocked. It's basically just for grinding some unique gear and such for fragments. Well, with the god Trilobite dying to Monkey, I used the scanner and I noticed there were a few of them on the map. So I basically took the highest level that was possible, but it's freaking basic tier though. Can I just mention that the sharks in the ocean have a huge aggro range, bro? Basically making it impossible to swim in the water without attracting any attention. Nickable. A few Paragon Trilobites had already respawned, so I could go out and kill them. I have to upgrade my Trilobite once again. It took literally the whole day for me to track them down and kill them. The ocean is just overflooded with creatures, it's insane. On day 55, I went to upgrade the Trilobite again towards Omega tier. But I couldn't go all the way just yet since we were lacking out on more Paragon souls. Akisa tracked down a unique Dino too, which has the ability to revive itself whenever itself explodes, I think. I went through the list trying to see if there was any more uniques up. There was indeed one which was called Solar. It's basically a ridiculous strong bug. Solar was hiding down in Asgard and I knocked it out extremely easily since it was just an alpha tier. But what's so good about him is that he has two cosmic abilities, one that summons a supernova and he's able to summon meteors around him. I had a few paragons up for the ant, so I went out to grab them quickly. I wasn't exactly sure if the drone paragon soul would work on it, but I was curious to test it. The drone upgrade did indeed not work. I can't actually use it. It needs to be soldier. Anyways, another Trilo paragon had spawned while I did other stuff in the meantime, so I went out to kill it quickly. Akisa had also found another unique dino which was called Haley. I don't know what we could use it for, but it can at least passively produce some silica pearls for us. I was reading through the guide and I found something very interesting. Absorbent creatures are the ultimate tanks. They have a large health bonus and reduced damage to compensate. They protect all nearby allies within their absorbent bubble, where all damage done to any ally is redirected to the absorbent creatures. Even players within the bubble can dismount from their tame and join the fight, completely immune to damage. That's the one we need. We need this. So it will basically absorb all of the damage when we're inside the bubble and it will redirect the damage towards the boss. So it was decided. I went out to capture this high-level absorbent stego. It's gonna be our main tank to fight future bosses. We all remember what happened to my late trilobite. Oh, I'm frozen. I'm gonna die. On day 56, I went out to gather up some paragons again. I managed to get an easy quest this time too from one of the dinos. Prime. The stego had now become a prime. We were nearing a mega tier on it. The best part about the stego is that we have a unique saddle for it too. I honestly didn't check this vault properly, but we have a unique saddle for the solar. The saddle is incredibly good. But yeah, I was kinda tired of my tech Megalodon not being able to be upgraded with the Paragon Souls, so I flew out to tame a normal variant instead. And since the Megalodon was only a prime, I had to kill a few Paragons to upgrade it too. Now I got my Meg upgraded and ready, and she was already ready to replace my old tech shark. For the rest of the day, I went swimming around the ocean in Fjordur, gathering up a lot of souls and essence. On day 57, I placed out a few dedicated boxes so we could get some sorting for our souls and essence done. It's just to make it easier for us to sort out the stuff with the TCU. It was finally time to give the trilobite a fitting name too. Alright, nice. I love this kind of automated sorting. Basically just walk into the marked zone to deplete the soul and essence to the dedicated boxes. I only did this since Akisa and I spent several minutes sorting out everything every time we come back from a big haul. The next day was being started by killing a Paragon Ant. And then a Paragon Stego. I was on a roll and we were gonna need all of the souls. I had 2 Paragon Trilobites as well to kill. It's always so satisfying using the Supernova ability because it one-shots most of the time. Oh, I got 2 Paragon Souls? Must have been 2 Paragons there. 2 Trilobites. On day 59, I got some Dino upgrades on the way. Seeing how much Roomba gaining on health and damage was giving me a big smile. And for the rest of the day, I spent my time clearing the ocean of literally everything to reset the spawns of Trilobites. I noticed how filled the ocean was, maybe even too much honestly, since I was noticing a lot of overspawns here and there. Day 60 was spent also killing off a lot of Paragons again. Akisa wanted to try upgrading her dodo named Kenny. I managed to get a unique spear too, but I honestly have no fucking clue what it's even used for. So after farming those Paragons, I was back home and I crafted the Gene Splicer. This one is for merging 2 unique dinos into one powerful being. I was just checking what possible combos were available. Alright, since we didn't have any unique saddle for the Trilobite, I grabbed the random saddle armor from the vault and I imbued it, which gave it the saddle an uplift. Then I crafted up a DPS dummy to try out the Roomba. I was curious how much damage he was capable of doing now. Ready? Oh, oh my god. 84 million. If it was night, I would have the Boogeyman buff on the Roomba, which means I would do twice as much damage as I do now. On day 61, we had a few new Paragon Trilobites I could kill. And after sinking a lot of hours into killing creatures in the ocean, the Megalodon unique saddle finally dropped. But I didn't see a single Megalodon with the saddle token ring, so I'm guessing it's RNG. On day 62, I was out crawling around with my Trilobite during the night. I was curious how much damage I could output right now, and yeah, it was ungodly. Oh, 200 million! Then a bit later, I went to kill a Paragon Stego to power up my ungodly tank so we could get ready for some boss fights. We were still pretty far off though. At least the Stego stats were looking fire now. I was getting excited to do some bosses soon. Day 63 was fully dedicated to farm all of the necessary Paragons for our tames. We had plans on doing bosses very soon and there were a few Paragons up for us to farm. On day 64 we were gonna attempt some cosmic bosses to get the necessary boss souls and try out the new Stego tank too. Wow, that Stego is good.
Okay, well let's try the next one then.
Oh, attack cramps? Alright, that was fun. So a bit later, I went to kill a Paragon Trilobite. We had found a very interesting thing we wanted to test out, and we needed a Paragon Soul for it though. I started the next day by placing down a cloning chamber. Cloning some of the dinos would be a good idea, I would assume. I was also a bit curious to see how expensive it was to clone any of the unique dinos, and it was like 30,000 element. Alright, I think it was about time to use that Paragon Trilobite soul to make a unique token. The unique token was a necessary tool in order to upgrade the Roomba to a god level. I was gonna try cloning the Element and Kylosaurus, and it was extremely cheap to clone. Not what I expected at all. What? It's so cheap! Anyways, it was about time for us to do our very first god boss. Akisa had placed out the boss platform up in the sky so we could fight without any interference. I placed out my god egg and I dragged the Trilobite god token into it, and then it hatched and disappeared? Where's the dino? So apparently it had sunken down to the castle. On day 66, we had finally killed our very first spirit Trilobite, but we lost the absorbent stego due to the lack of my damage with the Trilobite. The boss was basically able to use one of his attacks and Akisa's stego absorbed it. But either way, we managed to get the god soul for the Trilobite, so I could ascend it from Omega to Godlike Roomba. 20 million HP and 8.5 million damage. So we feed this to the Omega Spirit, and it turns into the God. Oh! Look at that! 40 million! Now, we're gonna have to go catch another absorbent stego again, otherwise we can't do any more bosses. So a bit later, Akisa was trying to capture a unique frog, and she needed some help knocking it out. We had a few dinos passively producing resources outside on the rooftop of our base, but I decided to make this so-called resource collector. It works exactly like the Soul Terminal, but I think it's more built for the Ark Omega Dino, so it produces faster. The next day, I was in Jotunheim to tame a higher level element creature. I tracked down an Omega Monkey while Akisa was out farming some Paragon Dinos. Monkey! Come here. I believe the Omega Element Dino would passively produce more element and faster in the resource collector, so I wanted it because of that. I had now enough element shards to clone my God Roomba, but there was just one major flaw with it. Anyways, a bit later I went to capture another absorbent stego when I ran into an otter worm. Not quite the mix I was expecting. On day 68, Akisa came over because she wanted to see the otter worm and try taming it, but it felt pointless since we couldn't do any torpor.
It's so cute though. Look how many legs it has.
Then I was down in Vanheim to quickly grab a Paragon Soul for the Trilobite, and like usual, the grinding never stops. After a bit of discussion, Akisa and I decided to spam the Guardian bosses since we were missing out on the Absorbent Boss Soul. We were gonna try attempting the God for the Absorbent God Soul so we can get our own stego upgraded to Godlike. So we spent a good while trying to kill the bosses until we got it to spawn in. So super early into day 69, we got an absorbent boss to spawn in. It's exactly what we needed. Then we went up to the Sky Arena to attempt the absorbent god. Akisa placed out the egg and we spawned it in. This time, it seemed like it didn't fall through the arena though. But then it disappeared as soon as I attacked it. What the f? The snail god had dropped down to the castle, but it seemed like it was stuck here. I had tracked down the snail to a slope only to get shit on by a wyvern.
Oh.
The god Roomba was just too slow to keep up with the snail god, but I found a way to get him to him faster. To be honest, I don't think we actually needed a stego tank for this at all. I switched between my Roomba and Solar to output as much damage as possible. And after 10 minutes of constant clicking, he was finally dead. We then transcended the tank stego into Godlike. By the end of the night, we were gonna imbue the boss saddle with the boss essence, which gave it better stats than the old one I had. On day 70, I spent the majority of the day just farming Paragon souls like usual. It's a drag, but this is the only way we can do right now to power up our dinos for the upcoming boss fights. So a bit later, we went over to the beacon terminal to do 2 cosmic bosses to prepare for the cosmic god. But when I was about to activate it, I got destroyed by something. On day 71, the first cosmic god was summoned and he didn't get that far. He just got one tap by the god Roomba. 300 million was pretty much mouth-watering, but I already had a taste of the ungodly power and I wanted more. Souls were used for our RGs to make them hell a lot more powerful. Akisa was a bit disappointed that her RG didn't get the cool color like my Singularity. We went through the calculator and kinda just wanted to test which bosses we were capable of defeating. The Dimensional God stood absolutely no chance against us, plus we got some God Essence too.
10 million to...
By day 72, I basically just farmed up some more Paragon Trilobites, so if you guys didn't notice until now, Ark Omega is a literal grind fest. So 80% spent on grinding and 20% actually playing it. Anyways, I have already tasted a bit of the 300 million damage Trilobite, but we're aiming for the 1 bill baby. On day 73, I went over to one of Fjord's dungeon caves to kill dinos for my quest. I had a few quests that involved me killing a few dinos for Paragon souls. They were mostly useless, but we could just grind down the Paragon souls we didn't need. Like some of my quests also had a very long way to go as well. On day 74 is unlike any other day. It's a Trilobite extinction day. Killing every Trilobite I could get my hands on to power up my God Roomba. The upcoming boss fights were gonna be nasty, and we didn't want a risk of losing to any of the boss fights. On day 75, when I was still continuing to kill Paragon Trilobites, I found a corrupted area in the ocean that basically froze my game several times. And when I checked the server logs, it was throwing me a lot of errors too, but at least it didn't crash the server. Like you might not have been able to tell, but I was so sick and tired of repeatedly killing Paragons at this point to power up our dinos. But the stego went up so much from all over the Paragon souls, the Godlike Tank was getting ready for the big fights. Today is the day we fight the Solar Unique God. I placed out the egg and I put in the token and the Solar God spawned in. The Solar God was doing so much damage that I panicked a small bit, but that's not the worst part. It was doing insanely high damage to Akisa's stego. And his attacks apparently depletes our stamina, so Akisa couldn't keep up the shield for me, so I had to step in and out of the fight and throw attacks that way. Oh, it depleted my stamina with one attack! Attack, now I'm swooping in for the kill. I'm pretty sure that's gonna kill him, right? After a few swoops of attacks, he finally got defeated and I claimed his god soul, mine. And the stats went up double as much.
Wow, it just doubled it.
Yeah. The damage was just insane. I didn't have enough words for it.
No. Oh my god, I can. Was that 11?
Yeah. So if you ever wanted to do the group god for the Cosmic, we will have to take down these gods right here. I was making quick work of them with my god Roomba. And in case I didn't want to try summoning 2 bosses at the same time, she was too scared for it, despite her stego having the same amount of HP like the gods. Well, despite taking down the Cosmic Gods, we were still missing the Starfire and Comet souls. So I went out to track down an Omega Starfire so we could do the boss and god for it. On day 77, we summoned the Starfire boss that got blasted into oblivion.
Wow! That's almost a billion.
We are getting there though, the 1 billion damage dream. The Comet boss went down without any trouble also. And like any other god we faced so far, they went down before they were even able to fight back. Anyways, with us killing a god, we have now finally unlocked the Omega Altar for summoning higher tier gods. But this altar is not only for summoning variant gods, it's also for summoning the saddle god so you can basically upgrade the unique saddle. So we were gonna try out one for the Argentavis since we already had a few tokens for it already. It then got summoned in with a billion HP. Surely this wouldn't be too much of a bad fight, I would assume. But after fighting it for a while, we started noticing that the RG was self-healing because of some corpses lying in the ground. I had to quickly dismount to harvest those corpses up, but I couldn't get out to the bubble or I would die. We also noticed too late that he was also self-healing to max since he is a phoenix. So after realizing that, we figured we couldn't do it, so we abandoned the fight. Like, I'm not gonna lie, we were so confused on how to progress in the mod. This was a norm for us at this point. we just didn't feel powerful enough for progression and it felt a bit annoying. So on day 78, I wanted to power up our dinos slightly, so I kinda forced an input bonus on the Omega Dinos. They got a little bit of boost, but it wasn't that much. Akisa wanted to try out the loot boss a few times, since she read on the guide that it would provide us with some decent loot. To be honest, the loot freaking sucked. I don't know what was so fantastic about the loot boss. But today, I didn't do anything special, we were basically just discussing what we could do next. So after a bit, we had decided to do one more round of the Absorbent God in case we needed a backup tank. Oh! Did you see that?
That was beautiful.
Boom! I tried to use the God Soul on a clone, but it seemed like it didn't work at all, so that means we will have to find a new Omega Absorbent, but now we at least have the spare soul. On day 80, I was gonna go out to capture an Omega Absorbent Kentru today, but when I teleported to the castle, I noticed that the boss arena had sunk down on top of the castle for some weird reason. And afterwards, I went out to kill some more Paragon Trilobites to power up the God Roomba. Day 81, I went out to farm a lot of Paragons again. Not usual by now, but either way, when I was out, I got a hold of a unique saber-tooth saddle. That's pretty much it for this day. Today was the day. We were gonna actually attempt the group god today for the Guardian, but before we could do that, we had to kill off the normal gods first and get their souls. But this is where the God Room hit its first 1 billion. I felt like a true god hitting the billion damage now.
Goodbye, Neil.
As soon as we were done with the gods, we decided to wait for nightfall since the Roomba does more damage when it's night. This was the only drawback with the Roomba. Alright, it's almost night. We got the souls and then we summoned the Guardian God. Oh, do you see him? 7.5 billion! Now we have a true challenger. I was only able to hit him for 300 million with my strongest attack, even during the night. I was dropping off nuke after nuke, seeing as the golem was slowly losing its health. Victory would be close. But after a few Roomba nukes, we had finally killed our first Guardian God and got its respective soul. And with the soul obtained from the group god, we were then able to feed it to the Stego in order to ascend it to Guardian Group God Stego, giving it all of the Guardian abilities. So with us killing our very first Guardian God, we unlocked the Gauntlet Beacon too, which means we can summon in as many bosses as we want until the souls are all depleted. It works exactly like the Omega Beacon. We got some elemental souls ready and we went for the Omega tier to try them out. The bosses spawned and they couldn't do much against us. This was freaking great. Kisa's tank was stronger than ever. And then back at the base, I looked through the guide and the Rage class kinda intrigued me a lot, so I wanted to test it out. So then I went out to tame an Omega Rampage Sabertooth. I chose the Sabertooth since we had a unique saddle for him. I also took out a few Paragon Sabers so I could power up my own Saber. On day 85, we were gonna take out the Rampage and Frenzy bosses and gods so we could level up the tier of our dinos. Akisa tamed up a Frenzy Throwdown while I got the Saber. The gods went down without any further issue, exactly the way we like it. So the Frenzy Throwdown is able to boost our damage with his sword, it's like a Yuri. So then we're gonna try them out, and what's so good about the Rampage is that he gets stronger the more he attacks. And now we had the boss souls and it was time to summon the gods for the elemental tier. Our first boss was an annoying Environment that only did spin, so Akisa felt a bit powerless on the Saber. She basically brought in the God Roomba for the Environments and it was a lot easier to handle them. We're still killing the bosses to this day, but once we fought the Windburst boss, the server was literally lagging and then he just disappeared. He vanished. We were so confused where the god disappeared off to. It's like the server was like, "F this guy, get him out of here," and kicked him off. And then a bit later, we tried fighting a roaming Steinbjörn. It could only be damaged by our flyer, so it was perfect for us to fight it now. On day 87 was time for the Cosmic Group God. We put all of the souls in and we summoned him in. Of course it was blasting us with attacks, and Akisa was actually panicking since it was doing an extreme amount of damage to the tank.
I'm taking I'm taking more damage than I think I can handle.
I couldn't get close enough to reach him since Akisa panicked, activated the bubble, and it pushed him a bit further away from us. I soulbored Akisa's RD so she would take less damage. We actually believed that the more dinos we had out, the more damage her tank would absorb. And after a few nukes, the god was dead. We gave the soul to Space Laser and he got an insane damage boost in health and damage, but also a different skin. And Space Laser's ability is unbelievable. Jesus. So it does a supernova, a gamma ray, and a singularity in one spot. A bit later, I went out to kill a few trilobites again. I was so tired of farming them, to be honest. And when I was out farming trilobites, I actually spotted just a random one with a unique saddle. So I killed him and I got the unique saddle for my trilobite. It took this freaking long just to find one, and I've killed 1,000 of trilobites so far. On day 88, we summoned in some ancient tier beacon bosses to test them out. They weren't that hard. It was also so satisfying throwing off these big boy nukes on God Roomba. Oh yeah! The next day, I wanted to try upgrading the saddle token a bit, so we summoned the saddle god for the trilobite. Oh, it's already taking damage? He's losing health, do you see that? How? It was incredibly frustrating when he was able to phase through the boss arena and we had no teleporter outside there. So I had to teleport back to our other base and fly over there. No.
Well,
It was so annoying, but after doing a lot of that, he gave me a somewhat of an upgraded saddle. It gives me more ability damage, which is actually huge. And by the end of the day, we started doing a few unstable gods because we were thinking of doing the unique group god for the unstable and elemental. But on day 90, we had taken a look into the boss and we decided to use a different set of dinos for this fight because the boss itself has a self-destructive ability once it dies. So all the dinos we would bring for this fight will eventually die. It doesn't matter how powerful it is, it will die either way. So while I was out farming paragons, Akisa was preparing the backup tank that she had been working on for this fight. On day 91, we were ready to try out the group god for unstable. We had our backups ready to try facing him. But before we could even do a single thing, we got literally deleted. We didn't want to risk of losing our main dinos to this god, and we're gonna try out our backups against him, but they died so quickly. The boss has a self-destructive ability, and I read on Discord that he does 3 times his health as in damage when he self-destructs. So we're not risking that. But then we decided to switch it up to a different set of gods. So instead of going for alchemy, we decided to go for Indestructus, which is a powerful mix of guardian and resource gods. The goal was simply trying to defeat the unique group god, that's it. And for the rest of the day, we spent the time taking down all of the resource gods in order to summon the group god. For the entire day, I flew around killing a lot of paragons, trying to level up my dinos even more. It's crazy, I think I'm up with like 40 paragons on the trilobite right now. I have killed so many of them, and to be honest, it doesn't feel strong enough. Day 93 had arrived and we summoned the guardian god. And like usual, this god is super tanky and it took a very long time for us to kill him. So for the rest of the day, Akisa made a bunch of potions in preparation for the big fights. She also put together the roof of the base, finally. Then she went out to finish her last Omega quest, and while she was doing all of that, I was then working on making my first hybrid, which actually took until day 96. On day 96, I was finally ready to make my first hybrid. I just had to give them the right amount of paragon levels in order to make the hybrid. My solar then dropped an egg, so I incubated it and it came out something called a pixie, a compy with wings. What? I used the growth pulse to speed up the maturation a bit because we were running short on days now. The pixie was capable of summoning meteor minions that did their own attacks to any target, and I could summon some meteors too. But I don't know if I would be able to use it for some combat, to be honest. It didn't feel strong enough up against any of the basic beacon bosses. I was literally struggling while Kisa did all of the work with her tank Stego. The bosses basically kill themselves since the tank has reflect. It reflects damage back to the attacker. But on day 99, it was finally time to attempt Indestructus, our very first unique group god with 15 billion in health. We quickly got humbled when the God Roomba barely did any damage to it. Its damage reduction was freaking huge. No, that's the only damage I can do to it. Oh, it's already healing up, Kisa. I even tried attacking him with my solar, and we barely got him down 1 billion after 10 minutes of constant clicking. But I think we read that nature was strong against him, so I brought in Akisa's Kenny to the fight. And as soon as I managed to get him into Akisa's bubble, Kenny died, but it was all good. He was a phoenix, and he could revive from a blow like that, as long as the corpse was still there. You sure that Kenny's coming back?
He should be. Kenny, how long does it take for you to come back to life? Kenny, you're doing a bad job here. Oh, hi, Kenny. Now's a good time to wake up.
Kenny actually disappointed us. He never revived. Holy shit, that dodo was freaking useless. All that time and effort, and he goes down like this. We actually gave up on Indestructus. It felt hopeless, and we were thinking quickly what we could do about the situation. We still had the nature god's souls left. But then a bit later, it was decided that we were gonna give this one last day a try and aim for Apocalypse, which is a unique group god with a mix of nature and cosmic. But before that, we had to gather up the cosmic souls again since we already had the nature ones. Well, it is day 100 and we summoned in all of the cosmic gods at the same time. We were running out of time and didn't have time enough to take them down one by one. Akisa kept on placing out god eggs and summoning bosses while I killed them. And then Akisa didn't pay attention to what she summoned and we both got sucked into a black hole and she died. Alright, after getting those souls, we summoned the group god for Cosmic. He was still a big powerhouse of a dino, but we made quick work of him. Then, it was time for the nature god, and he was capable of doing tornado abilities, which basically sucks and pushes Akisa around in a circle. He also won with comboed me and had my god Roomba almost killed. I'm gonna die. Almost died. Did you see my health? Now, we had both of the souls, and then we summoned in the Apocalypse. Kisa was panicking from this fight. It was not looking good. The tank took insanely high damage from him.
Well, all health potions are now active. And I'm about to die, I think.
I can see that!
This is, like, actually terrifying. Please tell me it's dying really fast.
No! We still have 15 billion! We should have done this on the night, dude! I was so scared of going outside the bubble, and Akisa got eventually pushed away from me. Uh-oh. 14.7. Oh no, it's coming! It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming!
Okay.
Both shots of doom!
Really tempting fate here, Mike.
Apocalypse almost killed me when it flung me away. And while I was resting, it was starting to leap towards me. Teleport is coming to me! Shit! Teleport to Kisa!
Oh god, I might actually die.
I don't think I've been this sweaty before, dude.
Yeah, me neither. Really playing with fire here.
I kept telling Akisa to focus. We needed to use every power cell in our body to fight this since we were so close of killing him. Just focus, focus. I don't know how much HP it has. I don't know. Oh, it's 5 billion!
Yep. I'm actually in a position where I can see it too.
I can't hear you. Just focus, focus!
I'm focusing.
He's almost dead! But then, he fell to his own damage. The reflect on the Stega was amazing. Oh my god, we killed him before day 100 also. Oh,
Did we?
yeah, we did. Oh my god. Alright guys, I had a blast playing Ark Omega despite being complicated to understand. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and comment and subscribe. It's free after all.